want to share something that God's been reminding me of continually, teaching me continually. Something I wrote about last year, and I'll link that devotion post in the description below. But it's just this idea that God calls us to get off of the couch and go be a part of His story. Like He calls us to quit messing around on the practice field and actually get in the game. So in Mark chapter 6, Jesus takes His disciples to what the Bible calls a desolate place. And it doesn't stay desolate for long as 5,000 people show up on the scene. As it gets late, the disciples tell Jesus, hey, why don't you send this crowd away so that they can go buy food in the surrounding villages? Jesus says something very profound to them when He tells them, you give them something to eat. See, Jesus calls us to do something for Him instead of just waiting for Him or for someone else to do something. He chooses to use us, imperfect human beings, to play a part in His story. And He doesn't just call the spiritual elite. No, He doesn't just call pastors. He calls each and every one of us. You go do something. There's so much that we could say about this text, but here's the point that I want to drive home. Jesus can and will use whatever you have. See, whatever you have, no matter who you are, it is more than enough for God to use. See, the disciples thought, holy cow, it's going to take a lot of money to go into this village and buy bread for all these people. Are you sure, Jesus, that that's what you want to do? And then Jesus simply asked them, what do you have? Oh, it's just 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Cool, I'll use it. And as you probably know, Jesus used the 5 loaves and the 2 fish to feed over 5,000 people, and the disciples even picked up leftovers afterwards. See, no matter what we have, if we obediently bring it to Jesus, He will use it to do impossible things. Jesus wants us to be part of the game. He wants to use us. Think about that. He doesn't want us to sit around and wait for a miracle, or even worse yet, wait for someone else to do what we can do. No, He says, you give them something to eat. You do something. What do you have? Oh, it's just a little bit. Cool, I can work with that. So go and do something for God. Don't just practice one day a week at church. No, go be in the game. Go and do something for God. You'll be surprised what He can do with the little that you offer Him. Like, should 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish feed over 5,000 people? Absolutely not. That's what God does. When we obediently bring Him what we have, He stretches it as far as He needs it to go. He will always do the heavy lifting. He will always do the hard work if we just bring Him what we have. So go and do something for God. Take this truth today and run with it. You give them something